So if I'm sending this out to a print shop or someone that's going to be outputting it separate from a printer that I have, what I need to do is create a PDF that's imposed, okay? Or actually, I should say you don't have to do this, but in some cases you may want to do this. And in the case of the next thing I'm going to show you is I'm basically doing the binding and putting everything together myself. So rather than sending it to a shop, I'm going to print it out and bind it myself. So it sort of helps you when you're working in the shop and you don't have time or really inclination or budget to actually, send something out to be bound and printed and bound in a format that is really fairly simple for you to do yourself. So I'm going to go in and grab my print booklet feature, and you'll notice already I've chosen a PostScript file. So I'm going to go into my print settings, and normally we would choose what printer we wanted to send this to. Okay, so in our case we have the Xerox. There's some other printers that I've had hooked up to it over the years. Okay, so I'm going to choose PostScript file because I want to generate the PostScript file. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the printer description or the print driver to choose the printer that is going to sort of provide us with the PostScript. It has to be a PostScript file, a PostScript printer that we print to, or else we won't get the PS file that we require to create the PDF. So I'm going to choose the Xerox Work Center because I know it fits, and we'll go through and we'll look at our setup. You'll see it's letter, it's landscape. I'm not going to have any printer's marks on it, so I'm going to go back. Make sure you have print blank pages clicked, just in case you have blank pages in your file. I'm going to click OK, and that will give us our preview. Now I'm going to go in here and choose 2-up saddle stitch. It's only 24 pages, so it should be easy to saddle stitch, and there's all sorts of other stuff that we can adjust. My favorite is creep, because basically creep is the amount that each page, because it's formatted in a booklet, creeps outside the previous one. Okay, so the pages creep out because of the thickness of the paper. Okay, and we mentioned blank printer spreads before. So I'm going to go and I'm going to output this. I've already generated one, but I'm just going to generate it again. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to replace the old one, and it's pretty quick usually. And you'll see I have it here, and it's print to PDF.ps. Okay, so there's a couple different things we can do now. We can open up Acrobat and go to Create PDF from File and choose Print to PDF.ps and click Open. And you'll see it will generate the file exactly as we had seen it. Okay, so we could print this now, double-sided, and we would have the file exactly as we want it to bind it ourselves, okay, or give it to someone else to bind. The other thing that we can do is actually use something called an Acrobat distiller. And when we did that last move, when we actually opened our file in Acrobat, Distiller was running in the background, if you noticed. And one of the things that happens is Acrobat uses Distiller sort of hand in glove to actually do all the conversions, so from PostScript to PDF. Now you'll see I have my print to PDF file here, and I can either go in Distiller and open a file, or I can just drag and drop it. And you'll see it actually just gives me the file, it converts it, and here we have our PDF, and you double click on it, and as long as all of our settings were set up properly, you'll see that everything looks exactly the way it did when we opened it in Acrobat. And it should do that because that's actually the real program that it's working on. And if you watch, when you open a file in Acrobat and you're processing a file from PostScript to PDF, you'll see Acrobat will actually come up in your thingamabobber here, whatever this is, your doc. So Acrobat Distiller will actually come up, and sometimes after it's finished it will quit, and so it's pretty much invisible. Not a lot of people know that it is actually working. Okay, so that's the first thing. I'm going to show you another way of using both Acrobat Pro and Distiller next.